Yeah, Bernie Sanders recently said that the Democratic Party should have a policy, no super PAC money in primaries, and you seem like you're supporting something similar. How would you enforce that? I know the stigma is a significant part of it, but are there some mechanisms? The party has some soft power, and maybe it has some real power that it could revoke access to different tools that you need to run, or what could be done? Like, obviously the Supreme Court is just allowing all of this stuff, but what can Democrats as a party in their own primaries do to try to enforce some type of rules or at least norms around this?
Well, you could start by having the leadership speak out, right, from the DNC chair to the Speaker of the House, the Senate Majority Leader, condemning the candidate who's doing this. Now, the candidates will say, I don't know, but the candidate then should be out explicitly saying, I don't want the super PAC to spend a dime for me, and be very, very vocal about it. And for the members of Congress, leadership to be vocal about it. That would make news in the district, and I think it would backfire. I mean, beyond that, I think it could cost potential endorsements. I mean, it could. The DNC may have mechanisms to make it very unpleasant for a candidate who's seeking that kind of support. And I think if a candidate themselves starts to condemn that super PAC spending, and the Speaker, the Senate Majority Leader, the DNC leader, then they may realize that that's not actually helping the candidate; it's hurting the candidate, and stop. But we definitely need norms around this. And I say this as someone, look, if I ever were to run in some primary in Silicon Valley, it'd be very easy for me to go to umpteen number of billionaires and say, start a super PAC. I wouldn't do it because I don't believe in it. But this is just wrong. So I think you should have people from wealthy districts, from not wealthy districts, coming out and saying clearly, no super PACs in Democratic primaries. By the way, I don't believe that we should limit super PACs in Democratic versus Republican races, because I'm not for unilateral disarmament. I mean, if you got, Donald Trump or other people running, and, or in the Pennsylvania race of Fetterman, if Dr. Oz has a super PAC, I have no problem with a super PAC going to Fetterman to level the playing field. My problem is in the Democratic primaries.
It was striking to watch all of this crypto money coming into these primaries at the same time that you're seeing this massive crypto collapse. You and I kind of disagree on this. I've kind of been a skeptic of crypto the whole time. It just seems to me like a pyramid scheme, and the last couple of weeks seemed to me to be, well, this is what happens when you do the Super Bowl ad in January. You get as many people in as you can at the last minute, and then by now it's fading. What am I getting wrong about that? And how are Democrats responding in Congress? Like it feels like to me that this is a moment of like, okay, the people that were saying that this is not real, that this is collapsing, this is going to collapse, now it's collapsed. Why is that wrong?
So there's definitely a case for stronger regulation. I mean, Terra did collapse. It went to really zero, and it was a stable coin that wasn't backed by any dollars. It was backed by an algorithm to Luna, and there should be requirements that you have to have a stable coin which is pegged to the dollar, actually have dollar reserves. It's similar to the banking requirements we had after 2008 that you need capital reserves. But in terms of blockchain itself and cryptocurrency, there are genuine use cases. Those use cases are to make it easier to have remittances overseas, to be able to move money without incurring fees, to be able to move money faster, ultimately to be able to share things and execute contracts in ways that don't require third-party verification. So look, all the tech has fallen 50%. My guess is cryptocurrency has fallen 70%, and that's because they're sort of early stage technology companies. And my guess is that the top 10 companies, and one of the reasons you have disproportionate young folks and African-American Latino folks investing in it is because they're shut out of the early venture capital and other types of investment in Silicon Valley. What we need to do is figure out how do we give them access to investing early in technology, because that will ultimately be a wealth generation, without being scammed like Terra was. And it's a complicated issue that I think requires more sensible regulation.